So now we've had a quick look at the, back to the beginning. So now we've had a quick look at the general rules for when you need to use case in German and some of the exceptions, such as when you have a particular kind of preposition in front of the noun. It's time to look at the kinds of words that will be declining. So the first kind is the kind we have right in front of us, the definite articles. Der, die, das in German is the in English. Articles are a specific kind of adjective that is used to point to whether a noun is definite or indefinite. Here we have the definite articles, here the indefinite. This is the word a in English, and the word the in German. Very quickly, what's a definite article and what's an indefinite one? If it's a definite article, it's making clear to the listener or the reader that the noun in question is known or specific in some way. So if you were to say, I caught the bus, it would be clear that you were talking about a very particular kind of bus. Probably one that is known to both speakers, known at least to the speakers, to the speaker. Whereas if you were to say, I caught a bus, then you're talking about no bus in particular, a random bus, and a non-definite bus. So there are multiple kinds of definite article. The word the, of course, but also the word that or this, such, and which. There's two more examples in German of definite articles. Jener, which is that one over there, which I suspect is the origin of the word yonder in English. And also the word manche, which means many a. Next up, the indefinite articles. Of course, the word a, set here, various spellings of the word a depending on their case. A bus, a friend, an animal. However, also the word none, which can be used grammatically in the same way that you use the word a in English. So you can say, I have none money. In English we would say no money, but if you think about it, actually none makes slightly more sense. So essentially, if the number of iterations of a thing is 0, you can say none. If the number of things is 1, then you would say a. If it's 0, you would just substitute the word a for none. So I have a friend, I have none friends. And following the same rules for spelling are possessive adjectives. So I suppose technically, yes, technically these are not pronouns. These are technically adjectives, but they go in here in terms of spelling with the articles. They follow the same rules. So this is the word my. They follow the same rules as the indefinite articles. So whatever spelling rules you use for the word a or the word none, you also use for possessive adjectives like my, your, his, her, etc. Our. Next up, the pronouns. These are misused in English. As I mentioned at the start, for example, if you say it was me, you're slightly changing the case. It's an incorrect case. You should say it was I, because you are the doer and the doer is the nominative. Anyway, I just scratched that whole thing. Next up, the pronouns. These are the words that are used to refer to the individuals inside a sentence. So I, you, he, she, it, me, you, us, etc. The spelling is identical in English for the accusative and the dative. However, having said that, you'll normally see the word to if it's the dative. For example, he threw the ball to me. So even though the word me hasn't changed in spelling, it's going to have a to in front, and that taken together would be dative. So don't quite trust this. In any case, we've got these 4 cases in English, just like in German: the subject, the direct object, the indirect object, and possession. And we just need to remember that these are also going to be changing in their spelling. German is a bit more strict and rigorous about enforcing spelling changes for each case and for each person than English is. See, in English there's a lot of repetition. For example, you, singular, you, my friend, one person, you, my friend, many people. It's this same word, the same in the accusative and the dative. German, it's almost always changing. One exception is sie. We can talk about the rules for spelling these later on. The main thing to remember is just that you will need to decline pronouns. Last up is the adjectives. There are 3 tables for adjective declension. So, if the noun is preceded by a definite article, here the word the, then you have one set of rules, these here. If it's preceded by an indefinite or possessive adjective or possessive article, then it has another set of rules, and this is shown in this table. And if there's no article at all, if it's just hanging free in the breeze, then there is a 3rd table. This is quite uncommon. German's quite strict about using articles almost all the time, and so is English. However, if it ever crops up, here's your table for spelling without any article whatsoever. One thing quickly to note on spelling, although that's technically another section, is that in general, if there is no case obvious from the article, if it's not made explicit by the article, then some kind of spelling change has to happen to the adjective. And if it is obvious, it just defaults to this table. So here, der nette Mann, it's explicit that it is masculine nominative, because man is masculine and is obviously singular, because this is written in singular. So this can only be masculine nominative. There's no need for this to change to show the case. It's okay for it to default to the basic spelling. However, with the indefinite masculine nominative, it's not obvious inside the spelling of mine that we're in this case. So something radical has to happen to the adjective to make the masculine nominative clear before the noun comes along. So because this is a stub, and see here, the same spelling for the neutral, this is without any more context. If I only had this word, I would not know if it was a masculine or a neutral noun that's being talked about. So to make that distinction clear, the adjective is working overtime and deviating from this table to show the case and the gender. Same here. It's working overtime, doing more than it needs to, doing more than it would default to show we are neutral nominative.